Hi guys, Huvian Central here, and welcome back to another video. And today we're going to be doing another review, but we're going to be doing a slightly different review. And we're going to be, rather than looking at individual episodes such as the Aztecs or Tomb of the Cybermen, we're going to be looking at one whole series, made in basically the complete second series. And now I decided to do this because the normal stuff, like the normal episodes, like, I don't know, for Series 2, Girl in the Fireplace or something, I'll still review those separately, but I want to look at the whole the series as a whole. So it's good episodes, bad episodes. I want to look at its story arc and see what it does. And then, because this one is one of the fewer seasons where it's a new Doctor at the helm, I want to look at, does this season introduce this Doctor, which is David Tennant, to the role. And I've gone with Series 2, not because it's a fantastic season or anything, but mainly just because I've got it, and I thought I'd just look through it. So, yeah, it's not the best season ever. I think after season 1, it's got a bit of a dip in quality for the first season. This was obviously the first season to have a Christmas special, which is the Christmas... Is it the Christmas invasion? The invasion? What's it called? The Christmas invasion? No, that's... there's the Sycorax one. I'm going to figure out what it means when I look at the inside DVD. The Christmas Invasion. I was right, the Christmas Invasion. That's the first regeneration story, post-regeneration story of the new series, but it's also the first Christmas special of the new series. And, I don't know, it's not Spearhead quality, it's definitely not 11th Hour quality, mainly because in the story, he doesn't really do very much, which is unfortunate. And as a Christmas special, it's, yeah, but, as a Christmas special, the later ones to come are a lot better than this. But it's alright. Then, for like the first section, which is like all of these stories, which is New Earth, Tooth and Claw, School Reunion, Girl in a Fireplace, Rise of Cybermen, Age of Steel, and Idiot's Lantern, all of them kind of waver. You've got some good ones like School Reunion, Rise of Cybermen, Age of Steel, and you got some more ones in stuff like Tooth and Claw, the Idiot's Lantern. I think Series 2 gets a lot of flack. The first part, so like the first, 7 stories from the Series 2 get a bit of flack because the later stories are a lot worse. And these ones just kind of slip under the radar, which is unfortunate because it's like, I think all around this season does pretty well in establishing David Tennant as the new Doctor. Similar, I'm not saying I don't think it was did it as well as I don't know, Capaldi established this Doctor. I think Capaldi did a bit better. I find though, with the issue with the new series is that although yes, you get an episode to figure out who the Doctor is. So in this season, it takes you maybe up at New Earth until New Earth to get you to figure out what a good person, what kind of Doctor you're getting. But in the classic series, it's a bit better because it's like, if you go to take Pertwee's run, for instance, maybe like the first 3 episodes of Spearhead from Space, he's a bit regeneration sick. He's high on regeneration energy, and he's not the best. He's not the best, but he's a bit erratic. But then by the end of the Spearhead from Space and starting to the next with the Silurians, he seems to become the Doctor, like his Doctor's, what he wants his Doctor to be. He's become that at end of Spearhead, start of Silurians, which in the new series, for some reason, it takes them a little bit longer to get into that role. I mean, I still don't think Jodie Whittaker has actually found her Doctor yet. David Tennant, his first series, he kind of doesn't really understand who he is. And that's the thing with David Tennant's Doctor overall. Series 2, he's not really found himself, but he just knows he's happy wandering around the universe, sorry. Series 3, he's just moping about Rose for most of the time. And then Series 4, he's finally found himself, which is good. I mean, though, I like the fact that he's found himself. On to the second set of stories, which are Onto Possible Planet, Satan Pit, Love and Monsters, Fear Her, Army of Ghosts and Doomsday, and then obviously at the end we get the Doctor Who Confidential, which is good in these box sets. But I know a lot of people like this series because, I mean, a lot of people like some of the stories, and I mean, I know there's some stories in here which a lot of people consider be comedically bad. New Earth, Love and Monsters, Fear Her, they're all probably competing for Russell T Davies's 3 worst, sort of like competing for the worst story, which isn't a good thing. But then again, I feel like Moffat did that possibly again with some of his stories in Series 7 and Series 8 also kind of like have a 2 clash. But I think that majority of Series 2 is a bit underrated because you've got the I think if you talk about Series 2 with people, they'll be like Army Against Doomsday, Girl in a Fireplace, School Reunion, because like Sarah Jane Smith's in it, which is like the notable part about it. But I think there's some underrated ones. I like Tooth and Claw. The Impossible Planet, Satan Pit, whilst good, does kind of get forgotten about. I think when people watch it, they think it's good, but then after they've watched it, they just kind of forget about it, and it's just gone, which is a bit sad. But I can see why some people don't like this season. I remember it being on, like, there was like Series 10, not Series 10, Series 9 was coming out, and so they were rerunning on one of the other channels, they were rerunning the Russell T Davies era, and I was like, yes. So I'd watched all of Series 1 on it, and then I'd watched all of Series 2 up until Impossible Planet, Satan Pit, and then I just was like, nah, I'm not watching Love and Monsters or Fear Her, or the Army of Ghosts Doomsday. But then let's now, okay, and I just can't watch those final few stories. They're just so bland, and I just don't like it. But anyway, let's move on to the main difference between classic series and new series, and that is the arcs. I know classic did a couple of arcs, the Tyler Time Lord Key to Time, but the new series is where the arcs are. If you want to watch a series with a story arc, you want to watch the new series over the classic series because classic stories don't really have many arcs, like story arcs. But after the first series, where I feel like although all the stories in themselves are really good and you do get subtle hints of what's to come, I think that the story arcs hadn't really got going. However, it set it in motion, like the whole Bad Wolf thing. It set it in motion, and then I feel with the Series 2, they just felt like they've gone forward. They've gone forward to start doing more story arcs, and then they've fallen back again because this is the story arc, which is infamous for being. It's just a story arc for being infamous for where Rose goes to a parallel Earth, and I like the idea of her going to a parallel Earth. It's an interesting concept because they'd already brought in the parallel Earth thing earlier with The Rise of Time and Age of Steel, which, in my opinion, is probably the best. Was the best iteration of the Cybermen in the new series we had until World Enough in Time the Doctor Falls. But but I think it did well. Like, it was an interesting concept, but the story themselves are just awful. Like, I liked at the beginning there was that little bit of foreshadowing, which I think a lot of many people remember. But they're on that planet at the beginning, and the doctor says, "How long are you going to spend?" And she says, "The rest of my life." And it's like a nice little foreshadow with the fact that she's now going to leave, and I like that. That was and I don't really like yeah, I mean, the main issue with this story isn't the fact that I don't like the Daleks, or I don't like the Cybermen, or I don't like Torchwood, or like any of that. I just don't like the direction Russell T Davies took this. He finally, after like since like 1964, 67, not 64, 66, when Hartnell stepped down and the 10th planet happened. I'm sure kids all over the world were waiting for the time when the Daleks and the Cybermen finally meet and battle. And I said this on my Horror of Frank Rock review. If you want to go watch that, you should. It should be up in the top in the card thing. But I wanted to see the Rutons and the Sontarans actually have a fight in one of the episodes. But, as I said, I don't want it to be like Army of Ghosts Doomsday. Because in this, there's what? There's Cult of Skaro, which is... I do like the Cult of Skaro, but there's like 4 Daleks. And the Genesis Arc. But the 4 Daleks easily outnumber the millions and millions of millions and millions of Cybermen. And I just find that unfair, because obviously, since these Daleks were special because they're the Cult of Skaro and they have names and all that, Russell T Davies just couldn't kill them off that quickly to show that they're supposed to be creative thinkers, strong and powerful, and then they get killed off by some Cybermen. But it just also kind of felt unfair that the Cybermen were getting picked off one by one when they were a lot stronger, and I think it just annoyed a lot of people at the time. I also don't like this season, not because the season's bad. Like, there's the one... I think the worst part to me about Season 2 isn't in Season 2. I think the worst part about Season 2 is the repercussions it has in Season 3. Because I think... Series 3 is what? My third favourite series? No, my fourth favourite series. Sorry, I forgot about Series 5 for a second. But it's my fourth favourite series after Series 4, Series 10 and Series 3. Not in that order, but just those are up there, above it. But, the worst part about Series 3 is Martha loving the Doctor, and the Doctor being moping about Rose. And I feel like this stems from this one, because I think if Chris Eccleston had done 2 series, say, rather than 1, he'd done 2 series, or Rose had left at the end of Parting of the Ways, and Martha had gone, and Series 3 had happened as the second series. If Rose left with Chris Eccleston, then Martha, then we had Series 3 instead of Series 2, and that, like, early, with Martha. I think this series would have been a lot better. The Doctor wouldn't have been moping about Rose. You could have done more stories. Gridlock wouldn't... My underrated story for the 10th Doctor, Gridlock, might not have been as bad. I think, for me, rewatching Series 2, that is the single worst part. It's just the fact that watching Series 2 just reminds me of what this does to Series 3, and it just upsets me, because I think Martha's arguably the weakest companion of the 4th Doctor, and so it annoys me that's the reason I don't like her, is because of this series. And hopefully when I do a ranking of all the companions of the new series, that's where I'll go into more depth with that, because obviously I'm not counting some people that you might count. I'm not counting Danny Pink. I'm not counting some of the others. I'm counting Mickey Smith, because Mickey Smith, that is the single best part of the last 2 parts. The single best bit of the last 2 parts is the last 2 parts. I mean, Ghost and Doomsday. The single best bit of it is Mickey Smith being just absolutely murdering everybody. But yeah, all around, I think after Series 1, this is a pretty poor second series. I'm happy that they do step it up again in Series 3 and Series 4, which is good, because I don't know, I think when I watched Series 2 originally, it felt like it was good, but I wasn't excited to watch some of the episodes. But then now looking back at it, it does just feel like it's a bit of a slog to get through. And if I go, I mean, although the other day I did do this, I did think the other day, I'm going to watch David Tennant's story because I haven't watched David Tennant in a while. What should I watch? And I watched something from Series 2. But I only watched that from Series 2 because I wanted to watch The Doctor, but I also wanted to watch the Sarah Jane Adventures, so I watched School Reunion. But yeah, it's similar to maybe Series 6 or Series 8 for the respective Doctors, Matt Smith and Peter Capaldi. Is that if I was going to watch a episode from a certain series, I'd watch something from from Series 4 from David Tennant, for instance, just because there's better stories in that, which I'd much rather watch. Like, I'd rather watch Planet of the Ood or Science Library or Stolen Earth Journey's End. And I just think that's like it just ruins the. I think it just kind of lets David Tennant's Doctor down in a big thing for me, because although it's not his fault, if he can act well, like similar to Tom Baker, if he can act well in the stories, you can kind of let it pass a little bit, because like the stories are bad, but he's still at least doing well. But some of his acting is a bit shabby, so yeah. But that's just my opinion. I know there's some people who do like Series 2, and good on you. If you like Series 2, you like Series 2. Personally, it's not my favourite. It's not the worst. It's very mid-ish tier. But if you like it, you like it. I mean, I like Series 7, so, you know, who am I to complain? But yeah, if you have enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. And if you want to watch another video, you can. Also, my horrifying rock thing would have been up at the cards if you wanted to watch that, where I look at the only route in the story in the classic run, and I explain how I wanted, which I said, I wanted the Dalek story and Sandman. If they learn something from this story, is to do the Sontarans versus Rootans better. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. See you.